Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Growing Pains and Gains podcast. We've got some special guests in the building, or a special guest in the building. So first of all, I'll introduce Chantelle to my left. We've got Kristianos, and special guest today is Vanessa Williams-Carty. So yeah, fun fact, Vanessa is my sister-in-law. She's married to my big brother. So yeah, if I'm a bit more well-behaved today, then that's why.
So
I don't want to get in trouble.
does that mean she could clip you in the back of your ear?
She could, but she can't reach you. Yeah, see that? Strategically,
I got your back.
strategically placed.
Or you could Bluetooth the
I just,
clip
Blue
from
the licks.
Chantal.
I just do the look.
The look.
The look.
The look.
The look is
Oh.
like enough.
Yeah.
Hold on, you're Jamaican, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So no,
that supposed to mean?
I say that in the sense of they've mastered the way of
The
looking.
look.
Oh, okay.
And the look will just slap you, and you know
Yes.
what's up. Yeah.
You're like, what?
Oh my
Yeah,
days.
who
My
slapped
man gets
me?
like, we all got the look. Yes.
I got everything. I got
You
the
are
look,
for sure, yeah?
the licks, the everything.
You
What
see,
else?
I'm sorry. I'm
Lamentations.
Sorry. I said I'm sorry. Look at I'm looking at me.
roll.
What did you do?
She gave me the look.
Oh, okay.
The
So
look.
I had to apologize.
So yeah, what we talking about today, guys?
Drum roll.
What we got for us, Chantelle?
I can't even find it.
Oh. All right, we're going to go straight for the jugular. I think you described it as.
Yes.
Straight for the throat.
Was it expectations?
Is
Expectations.
that type of fish? Or is it-
No, that's a trout.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chris,
sorry,
that's a
just
trout.
wanted to just-
Throat.
And he was a
throat.
salmon.
Me?
Yeah. Was that fish?
No. Pause for that.
Sorry. Pause for the cause. Why for that? Okay, yeah,
Oh
sorry.
my goodness.
Back in the room.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's talk about marriage.
Yeah.
Because all four of us have been married or are married.
Experienced it.
So those who have watched previous episodes know that Christian and I were in heterosexual marriages.
100%.
Because I was about to say, I have to.
Nailed
Yeah, I was close. I caught myself.
Very
Yeah.
close.
Christian and I
We're in a marriage.
have been.
Hold on. Should I be?
We just
you know,
started.
there's a few billionaires that's out there that's done a video.
Yeah.
And one of the billionaires is doing a toast.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the person's name.
Yeah.
But when he's making the toast, there's another billionaire that's next to him.
Mm.
They're in the news now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they're just sitting down there and they're talking about, this is the last time I'm going to see you guys. You know, we've been together. We need to stick together like glue. And the other billionaire is just looking like, I'm part of this. We don't need no oil in this podcast. Let's just put it that way.
Please.
Definitely
No
not.
oils, please.
Yeah.
So Christian and I, we've experienced heterosexual marriage, and we're also divorced. Chantelle has shared that she is married, but you are
In limbo.
in limbo, trying to get out of that status. And Vanessa is happily married. So so we want to talk about the expectations of marriage and versus the reality of marriage. Yeah. So from the male and female perspective. So let's start with our guest Vanessa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let's go
Straight to me.
straight. Yeah. So why did you want to get married? And what was the expectations you had in your mind about what married life would be like, or why you wanted to be married?
Okay, I think for me, it's a little bit of a unique case because I was in my relationship for a very long time before the marriage.
How long is a very long time for the viewers?
For the viewers, we were together 20 years.
Wow. Whoa.
So we had already had children. We're raising our children. We're doing life before the wedding.
Okay.
Wow.
So, and I think from the very get-go, when we started our relationships, we both had children previously. So when we got together, it was, we're going to focus on just raising these children really well and building ourselves a future.
Yeah.
So that's what we focused on before the marriage. I'm not going to lie, it was taking so long, I was like, this is really not going to happen, is it? I've always wanted to be married. I've just been that girl. I like it. It's like, oh, look, it's my fairy tale. I was that girl.
Like what, like a princess
I'm
kind of
like,
thing?
I just want to be married. I used to have anyway,
So
I
you
won't
planned
go
out
there.
your wedding in your head from young.
From when I was young.
Like
Okay, wow.
Cinderella
And I
kind of
changed
thing.
it like maybe every 10 years and I knew what was going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, so, yeah.
When you say you changed it, you
This sounds so
upgraded
She
weird.
it.
upgraded it. Yeah. Actually,
Might
no.
wanna tweet. Yeah.
I don't want crystal glasses. I want. You know what I mean?
like,
Yeah.
like a Princess Diana kind of thing.
Private joke. Private joke.
What happened?
I actually
Wow.
don't believe Christian went there. That early.
So early.
That early.
We
Private
go
joke.
straight to it.
Private
Yeah,
joke.
go on, go on.
Anyway, we won't go there. I'm not even explaining that. And
Pish posh.
so like, I wanted to get married. It was important to me because I saw it as a public declaration of our love. Let's show everybody that this is a commitment and we are publicly saying we are together and we're doing this way. I have children, one boy, one girl. I wanted them to see this is what you do when you commit to somebody. And you're going to do this and you're going to stand there. Culturally, sometimes, and listen, don't shoot me down, everybody, but sometimes I think it's a bit easy when you don't make those connections and do it that way for people just saying like, to threaten as well and say, yeah, I'm gone.
Yeah.
One quick argument or I've had enough and I'm out. And actually really put the commitment in and say, I'm standing the test of time. When you take those vows, I took my vows really seriously. I hope my partner did too, and I think my husband did. We took our vows seriously, and we're going to stand by those. It's not a fairy tale, and you go through ups and downs. It's, can you do this? We're going to do this together. And that's what it was for me. My expectation, I don't think I had one crazy expectation because maybe because we was already doing life so much. So I was a bit like, this really is just to say, look at us. We're doing this. We're doing it the right way.
Okay.
I think for me.
And then, did it then match the reality then? Once after you did that big day,
Yeah.
and you done the declaration.
Do you know what? I think because we were doing life the way we were for so long, it literally put a little spring in our steps. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
So we got married, and it was like, whoa, this feels like a whole new relationship. This was exciting, and actually, we saw that transpire throughout the whole entire family. The whole entire family, until this day, they talk about our wedding and say, we love you too, so much love. And I feel like we're a little bit of an inspiration. Everyone talks about it. We're coming up to our 10th year in next year, our 10th year. So it's 9 years this year. Just in the marriage. And they're going, can you please do it again?
Can you please do it again?
No, Ryan, you're booked. You're booked for the singing.
Yeah, I'm there.
Because you did it the first time.
Yeah.
I actually want the same songs.
What? Oh, that's easy then. I ain't got to learn nothing.
Nothing
Fine.
Make
Yeah.
it work. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh,
So
man.
yeah, really, that's yeah.
I was going to ask, being with somebody for that long, wasn't there a bit of pressure from him or a bit of pressure from you? Did you feel pressured
To what?
to get married?
Definitely not from him. I mean, that's why it took so long.
Take your time.
People started saying to me, my friends were like, "You should ask him." I'm like, "I am not doing that."
Woo! That's a good question. I'm coming back to that.
No, that's why it took so long. I would not have asked him. My mum asked my dad.
Wow.
I've seen the. I've seen
Oh, they
what-
filmed it? They
No,
fil- oh.
I witnessed it. I was 11.
Shabba.
Oh, wow.
I was 10 actually when she asked him.
Wow.
They got married.
Mummy.
I witnessed that. I remember it. They
never
were
heard it.
upstairs, and I remember her running down the stairs going, "We're getting married. I just asked your dad."
Wow.
And me and my brother were like, "What?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've witnessed my dad say for the last 20, 30 years or how long they've been married, I shouldn't have said yes.
Locked up, stuck.
I should have said no.
In it, That's what he says.
Wow.
Your mother come tie me down.
Yes.
That's what he says. I'm like, Dad, you weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
They were together.
Wow.
But that's what he says.
Oh, so I've got another question for you then. So I know what your expectations were, and you always wanted to get married from young. During the 20 years of the relationship, did you lose hope, or did it cheapen the family unit because you thought we're together, we're doing life,
Yeah.
but he still hasn't,
Yeah.
and we haven't, blah blah blah.
I'm not gonna lie, and I don't know if Paul really knows this. My husband.
My brother.
I've just outed him. Yeah. Big up Paul.
Hold tight. Hold tight, bro.
However, I had some shaky moments, real shaky moments. I've got a really good friend who reminds me of this. She does it literally every year. I make another year. She says, "Do you remember that time he was in New York? I was walking over the Brooklyn Bridge and I was talking to my cousin. He was asking me, how's everything going with you and Paul? And we're years in, and we've got big kids now. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he really wants to really do life with me. I don't know if he's just here going through the motions.
Yeah, the convenience of and the comfort.
Yeah, and the comfort, and I don't know, and it's making me devalue myself. That started to happen, and I was a bit like, I might give it a year, and I think I might have to have the conversation that if it really isn't, I felt bad for my children. I didn't want them to have this image of my parents are just together because they had us and we're just doing it because of the kids.
Yeah, convenience.
It's convenience. I wanted, if we're together, it's because we want to be together, and you love me and I love you.
Yeah.
That's why we're together. The children are the bonus in this.
Yeah.
And I had that conversation, but it was the following year Paul proposed.
Oh wow.
So I remember I said I'm giving it a year.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to have the conversation.
You spoke it into being. Go on.
And the following year,
Or she put
he
a padlock
proposed.
on the bridge.
On the bridge.
And then he took a plane for a month. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Interesting.
yeah.
What about you, Chris? What was your expectations of marriage? I know you. So us three are Jamaican. You're Congolese.
Yes.
So what you grew up seeing? What'd you say?
Geographic.
Geographic. What you grew up seeing would have been different.
Yes.
The importance you placed on marriage would have been different. So what was your expectation of marriage? And then when you got married, what was the reality versus your expectations?
So growing up, knowing that I always wanted to marry, I was just that guy.
I was like, this guy's an idiot, you know?
Prince Charming. You know?
Oh my goodness.
Father.
Yeah, you know. I've always wanted to get married, and I always wanted to get married young because I like the stories of, you know, we got married when we were 18, 17, and now we're like 65. And we've been together. And yes, she's a headache, but, you know, you take out the dentures and then we share dentures. No. But yeah, I've always wanted to get married. I've always wanted to get married young. And I say for me, I think I pressured myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I pressured myself. And I was not in the right place mentally, and I think even emotionally. Maturity, I don't think I was mature in my early 20s, ready for marriage. But when I saw, because we were together from when I was 17, she was 19. And I thought, 21, 22, let's get going. She's telling me no. But why she's telling me no is not because she doesn't want to, it's because of her parents, or her mother, should I say. And her mother is from
The best country in the world.
the big island.
The big
The
island.
big island, Jamaica.
That's why you attract to us so much. Look at this.
I'm telling you, just so much. So fast forward, I think because I pressured myself, and I felt that that's a manly thing to do. And again, I wouldn't have waited for her to come and try to propose to me, so I wasn't gonna have that. I actually toiled.
Yeah.
I'll say, yeah, we could call it toiled. Like, I worked, because it was the mother would say no, she doesn't like it. I don't know I do know what her reasons were, but I don't think
At
I
the
should
time
share
you
it.
didn't know.
No, at the time,
Yeah.
I did know.
Okay.
So I thought there's the key components to getting married is the willingness. From when you are willing to get married to me and I'm willing to get married to you and we're willing to develop together, that's the key components, and everything else comes in. So I was always willing. She wasn't willing because of the influence. And then she got to a point where she kind of like, could you say forsook?
Mm-hmm.
You could say that.
I learned the dictionary. Yeah, so she forsook her mom's ways and she decided to be willing. So I was like, you know what?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get it. So I put a ring on the cake, on the candle. And we went to a restaurant. Sat in the restaurant. She thought it was her birthday. I said, "Would you?"
She thought it was her birthday.
No, it was her birthday.
Oh, it was her birthday.
She thought it was for a birthday cake.
Okay.
So yeah, not knowing that it's actually a proposal cake.
Oh, see.
So yeah, so she got the cake, and then 9 months later,
What?
about 9 months later, and about 25 grand later,
Hallelujah.
we got married. And then now we're in it. I felt like I was married to about 7 people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
You never saw these. Where were the 7 people? Who was that within your wife?
Sorry, disclaimer again. I think I have to remind the people every time that I speak in metaphors, similes, parables.
Yeah. Fables.
So for those who have ears, for those who have ears, let
Fables.
them hear.
But wait, before you get into
Chapters.
the 7 people,
All right, yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm still trying to paint the picture of what your expectation of marriage was before. What does marriage look like to young Christian? What does
Marriage
what
look
do you
like
expect it?
we're willing, we're working together, we're growing together. It's me and you against the world.
Okay.
We're hand in hand skipping, although sometimes the hand will skip and slap by accident. You know, it's correction. So
Okay.
that's what I felt it was.
Togetherness, joy.
Me and you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I got into it,
Yeah.
the reality was
Uh-huh.
it was me and Snow White.
And the 7
And
dwarfs.
the 7
Right. Some alter ego situation
And the
right
7
there.
dwarfs.
You know what? That one hit for me still. That's a good one.
I dare say one of those dwarves, let me not say dwarves, one of those people was also your wife. I felt that. Your ex-wife. Sorry, let me land.
Okay, go on, lad.
It's getting hot in here.
The influence that came from
The outside.
the outside world,
Okay. So you felt
Was
like you were
what?
married to the community.
basically.
You
wow.
you felt like you
So
were married
everyone
to
had an
the
input.
girls group. To
Girls
the group chat.
To
You
the
were married
group
to
chat.
the group chat.
Wow.
The girls group.
Okay.
Every single girl in that group chat,
Oh,
I was
gosh.
married to them because,
Oh no.
and then they'll get close together. So out of the 7, for example, she'll get close to number 3, and then whatever number 3 says, she comes home and does it. And then I react to it a bit negative, so she goes to number 7, and then whatever number 7 says, she comes and does it. But that's not who I'm looking for. If I wanted number 7, I would have tried to speak to number 7 in another life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, that was my reality. My reality was that sometimes with my expectation was not what was met.
Okay. Question to the room, because he said expectation.
Okay.
Whose responsibility is our expectation? Is it our responsibility or is it our partner's responsibility?
Oof.
I'd say joint if you communicate your expectations. Because, I mean, you can't... I think we had a conversation before about expectations. Where you can't really expect someone to fulfill your expectations because they're yours. That's why I think it's about conversation. See where the person's at. See what it is they want. See where they see themselves. See where things are going for them. Because then that will also help you know if your expectations are congruent with my expectations. And if they're not, our paths can just continue to pass. So, real talk.
Sis, what do you think?
He said sis. I just wanted to add.
Are you sis?
Oh.
In law.
I insist.
Vanessa, what do you think?
So expectations are really difficult, I think, because I don't always meet my own expectations.
Wow.
100%.
Ouch.
Bars.
So
Yeah.
I don't know how I can really expect someone else
To meet them.
them. I just think it comes back down to communicating all the time. And if you can really channel that and keep that communication in the hard times, all the way through, so that you can keep trying to meet each other where you need to. Otherwise, you're in a bit of, you can't, I don't think expectations are, they're going to set you up, I think, for
failure.
100%.
Yeah.
What do you think?
For me, I feel expectations are my responsibility.
Only.
My expectations are my responsibility because I set them.
Okay.
I can set them high. I can bring them down low to avoid disappointment. I can make them realistic, but I've still set them.
Okay.
Sorry,
You
do
know-
you mean expectations for the person or your own expectations for yourself?
Of the person and
Or the
of the
relationship.
relationship. Yeah. I've had issues in my journey where I've set my expectations too high. I expected myself from people. I wouldn't treat them like that. Why would they treat me like that? Oh, I'll do that for them. Oh, I'm always there for them. When stuff goes down for me, they're not there.
Yeah.
But they're not me, so I can't. So I've always had that issue.
Yeah.
I've always expected a certain relationship with my mum or with my dad. I've expected, to have certain relationships with older siblings, thinking they should be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
who said that though? Do you know what I mean? That's what I think a big brother or a big sister should do. That's what I think a best friend should do.
Yeah. And then
That's for me to do it. Then if that's how I think, let me do that. But don't expect. So I've had to learn the hard way. I've been disappointed,
because
hurt,
you get
let down.
disappointed. Constant disappointment.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault.
And it's because I've set
That's
it
right.
there.
Yeah.
So if I just bring them
I
right
learned
down
that very early.
and just take what you have to give me, that's
That's
what
it.
you've
That's
got to
it.
give me.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a bonus.
I
Expect
go with
nothing.
what Vanessa said before and what you just said now is the self-reflection. So you've got younger siblings.
Yeah.
Have you met your expectations, what you expected or what you thought you should expect from your elders?
See, that's a part
And
of
have
it.
you done
That's a
those
part of it
same
for me.
things
Yeah.
for your younger
So
siblings?
the answer is no, I haven't. Which is then.
my
Which,
friend.
wait.
We
Let me
listen
land.
and we do not judge.
No,
We're
you
not
can
judging.
judge, but let me land first. I haven't. That's why I've learned to lower mine.
Yeah.
Because I can see now how, with all the best intentions to be a good big brother, how my life got so busy and so hectic that I wasn't able to be as present as I would have liked my elder siblings to be present for me.
Okay.
So that's what's taught me, okay, lower your expectations because you don't know why someone is only able to give
so
X.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's where I give the grace now.
Okay.
Because I know, okay, I see. Even with, like, for example, my dad, we spoke about it a lot on a few previous episodes, I think, wasn't present. But then since being a dad, I've seen certain scenarios where, if that was me, I would have thought that my dad just X, Y, Z. But now I see it from the other side. I can see how one thing can lead to the other and you can't do what you said you were going to do with all the best intentions.
Yeah.
That may have been his case or may not have, but I can see how it's possible you could let them down without wanting to let them down. Do you know what I mean?
Unintentionally.
Because I've been on the other side. So when it comes to expectation, I'm still working on it, but I'm learning just give people grace and whatever you get is a bonus. But don't let that. When people say treat people how they treat you, I don't want to treat people how they treat me. I want to treat people how I want to treat people, regardless of how they treat. I want to support them as much as I want to support them, regardless if they support me that same amount or not. Do you know what I mean? It's not a tit for tat thing for me.
See, I see it slightly different. I see that I can or I should have expectations, and I shouldn't lower my expectations. However, if it's not met, then I could be understanding. So I have a standard, and that standard should not be lowered. So my expectation is that I would expect you to call me as a friend, as a brother. I expect you to advise me and to encourage me. That's my expectations. Similarly, I will try to live with those expectations myself. So what I'm wanting to project to you, I have to fulfill that first and foremost. And then also fulfill the ones that you have of me. Back to communication. So as long as the information is communicated, then we try to adjust to make it work. And again, some people, you could call some people for advice on red flags, but then you won't talk to them about cars. So my expectation is these are the people socially, I've separated them, brother, sister, auntie, cousin, friend, in-law, or whatever. I've separated them and put them in separate baskets to say, well, in this basket, I am expecting this, but I am understanding if you can't meet that. And if you can't meet that, it's not that our paths just carry on moving, but it's just then I have to adjust my understanding.
What basket you put them in.
Basically.
Okay, cool. But hasn't that ended up in a lot of disappointment for you and hurt?
Used to, because I did not have the understanding, and it would have to be, like the love language thing, where you have to meet me where I am to make me feel loved, make me feel appreciated, make me feel valued, and I have to meet you where you feel loved, where you feel valued. But when you come to an understanding that the person cannot do it, then it's you're cool, you're fulfilled.
Would
For
you say
me,
then the expectation has then changed?
no. It's just the understanding that you can't meet it right now. So somebody, I'm giving you my all, that's a 5 litre. I'm giving you my all. And the other one, I'm giving you my all, that's just a 1 litre. That is their all. So I can't, it's like, I can't compare that. But I could keep it that I require to have 5 litres.
Or you desire.
I desire to have, I desire to have 5 litres, but you can't meet that 5 litres. No problem. Give me your all, and I'll still give you my 5 litres. Then I don't feel cheated.
Fair. Shan? Back to the marriage question. What was your expectations of marriage versus the reality of marriage?
I think it was quite simple because it was
Sinful or simple?
Simple.
Oh, okay. I was going to say sinful. Wrong podcast. 50 Shades of Grey. I was like, wow.
Saints.
Yeah. Go on.
I'm going to get
Simple.
you a Q-tip for your ears to clean out
please.
the wax.
Stick Brooke inside. Simple. Go ahead.
We're not advertising face wash. But yeah, I think mine were simple because, like, as my friend at the time used to say, young love and all that, I was 18 when I met him, 19 when we became an item, and 21 on my birthday when we got married. So, great present.
He's smart. He's smart.
Yeah, celebrations in one. This is your birthday
I
present.
used to say to myself, I want to get married on a Wednesday, and my birthday happened to fall on a Wednesday when I got married.
Oh, wow.
That was a me thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was strange.
Manifested that.
I'm telling you, man. Let's be clear about that manifestation stuff.
Go ahead.
Jesus is Lord. Anyway, so yeah, real talk. There's a lot of confusion in the world, but it was simple because I was just like, we love each other, we're committed, and at the time he had a situation where potentially he could leave the country, so it was a decision to, are you going to ride or are you not going to ride? So it was simple because it's like, I might not see you. So you know all of the things that could potentially happen. Are you still committed? That was a very, very hard yes for me because I was not moved or swayed by what could be. I just knew that regardless, I would be there. And the simple answer is no, it did not uphold the expectation, but there are many variables to that. So I think I touched on a couple before. The variables are, yes, the long distance is the obvious one. There was a breakdown in communication because when you're put in a situation where, without putting all of his business on Front Street, where you have no choice, you have limitations to be able to communicate because of your situation. And then like, I don't know what's going on because you're trying to firm it and brave it so that you can make it look like, no, I'm good, I've got this, we're good. And then it turns out to be something else completely different, where there were, it's like every expectation of us doing this together was like, it was null and void because I'm upholding, but what I'm seeing and what I'm receiving is like, what happened? I thought we were going to do this
together,
because you knew this could be, I knew this could be.
What's changed?
We had the conversation, so wagwan. Yeah. Wow. And I was very big on being a communicator, and I'm even more so like that now. I think I'm better at it than I was. But yeah.
So should we have checklists before we get married?
Can I hold that thought? But what I'm seeing in here, right, and I'm just thinking, is this a thing? Possibly, I don't know. But you three got married very young.
Oh, yeah. I haven't even told
I
my
didn't.
story yet.
I got married and I was 40. I got proposed to at 40. I was 42 when I got married.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes,
she
looks 12.
I think there is something.
Basically.
And my husband's is 2 years. My husband's 2 years older than me, right? So, I don't know. I'm like, is this a thing? Is that a thing?
It could be. But I think it's not. I don't think it's for everyone. I think there could be a lot of variables because, like, I've got a nephew he'll be 31 this year. Him and his girlfriend have been together since they're married now, but they've been together since they were 16. They took their time to get married. They got married 2023.
Right.
And there's a different foundation.
So does that mean it's not about how young you are, it's about how long you may do the bits before the marriage, maybe. Before you actually, so like you're having a longer relationship before the actual commitment in marriage.
Do you know what I think it is? It's a few things. I don't think we're prepared for marriage at home with parents in our communities. But for us three, okay, I'm going to say this, correct me if I'm wrong. But for us three, our decisions would have been, to a large degree, fueled by our religious beliefs. Being diehard Christians.
In the church,
active. Day, week in, week out.
Active.
Literally.
Usher board, worship team,
At church,
deacon,
6 days a
but
week.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Choir practice. It's a life.
Yeah.
I think that's a factor because I know a lot of my peers that I grew up with in church who got married young, who are no longer married.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that
it
no
doesn't
young person
work. Of course
can get
not.
married.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm saying from our perspective, we weren't prepared for it. For a lot of us, it was a license to have sex.
Yeah.
It was, for me personally, my expectations of marriage was, all right, so before I became a Christian, I grew up a Christian, but before I personally gave my life to God, to Christ, I was unhappy as a 10-year-old. Like, I just an unhappy child, sad, depressed, low, whatever, unheard, unseen, or whatever.
Yeah.
When I used to go to church, I saw everyone rejoicing and clapping and singing and dancing, and I'm sitting there, I'm so sad. And I'm looking around me, and all these people are just so happy. So I was like, I want to feel what they feel.
Yeah.
I want to be happy like them. I know these people my whole life. Everyone is just skipping and as a 10-year-old, I'm looking like, I want that. I don't want this. I feel so. Similarly, as a young teenager, again, I wasn't happy at home. self-esteem was low, self-confidence was low, relationship with my parents, wasn't great.
Turbulent, yeah.
I wanted what I see other people have. I want, for example, I went to my big sister. When I go to her house, I see the way how she would protect certain things. I know that's my husband's. Don't eat that. Yeah. That's my husband's. Don't drink that. And my mum again with my stepdad. That's your stepdad. Don't eat that. And I thought I want to be held in a place. I want to be looked after and held in a regard where that's my husband. I'm important to somebody. I think that's what I was longing for. To be special to someone. To be important to someone.
Seen.
To be seen.
And for them to show everybody else, this is...
Yes. Don't touch that. That's my husband. No.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The declaration.
The declaration, which we can touch on in a sec. So my expectation was to be somebody's important person. I wanted to be seen by somebody. I wanted to be held in the highest, respected. Do you know what I mean? To people. That was my expectation of marriage. So I was trying to escape my reality and thinking that if I have my own home, my own woman, my own family, I don't need the world. I don't, do you know what I mean? But in reality, that didn't happen for me. But I take responsibility because my expectations. But it didn't happen for a number of reasons. I didn't feel like that special person or, that's my king. Like I didn't feel that. But then there's reasons from my point of view, things I didn't do or didn't know. I wasn't equipped to maybe inspire a woman to want to behave in that way or treat me in that way. I didn't have the tools to make her feel safe, protected. I was providing and doing my best and doing the whole church thing as best as I could. Do you know what I mean? Respecting ministry, respecting God or whatever. But yeah, I didn't have the right preparation, no teaching. I didn't have any role models in my life to say, do this, do that, My dad at the time was on his third marriage. He didn't want me to get married, but he didn't explain to me why though. He said, don't get married, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't say, this is what marriage is like. This is the sort of things that you'll have to deal with. You're going to have to, he could have challenged me. Can you be selfless, son? Can you, what if you don't get sex for a month or 2 months? What if, your wife is nagging you? How are you going to deal with that? There was no practical advice. There's no one challenging, how's your character right now? Can you handle if there was nothing. My mum was happy.
For someone to say don't get married as well.
You're gonna go even more.
I'm defiant, so I'm gonna be like, you can't
people
tell
saying
me.
don't do it.
Yeah. No.
I thought I was doing right by her. I thought I was doing right by God.
Yeah.
And also my expectations was I'm gonna
It's
be
gonna be
happier
all this,
because I'm gonna escape my unhappiness and have my happily ever after. But it didn't happen. But I'm not gonna talk about what she did and didn't do. I know I was ill prepared. Yeah. So I couldn't give her what she needed as a leader and as a man, head of the household, to get to then inspire her to say, oh my gosh, I want to make sure he's, do you know what I mean? Hold him up, do you know what I mean? So I'm not absolving her of her responsibilities, but I just like to come from the perspective of self-reflection. Do you know what I mean?
What about, like, for example, my experience for myself in my own marriage was I was willing to do that and I was doing that. But if the person just gives up and they're just not, then they try for a period and whatever helps them to survive within that marriage, within the situation that they're in. But then they just are stationary whilst you're continuing to.
I think for me, there's always going to be lulls. There's always going to be like one person who is fighting fit and someone who can only give 30%, 65, and then you'll meet them and you meet their shortcomings. Do you know what I mean? You'll give the extra and you have that patience and understanding. But there has to be a willingness, like there has to be some fight in you that you're going to try. All right, babes, I know you're feeling this way at the moment. I know you're going through this at the moment. It's cool. But you can't stay in that state. There has to be some effort, some fight. Yeah. You know, do we need to go to therapy? Do we need to? But we can't just stay in this state, because if I keep over giving, I'm gonna be depleted. So,
and
I
sometimes
think
maybe breaks do work.
Yeah.
breaks.
Yeah, breaks.
I don't believe in them.
Oh, you don't think that's like practice for divorce?
Yeah, I don't believe in them.
No, it depends on how you orchestrate it.
Please do.
Yeah. How do you successfully orchestrate a break
I
in a
think-
marriage?
You see, I don't know if this is something that we'll touch on later, but
Go on.
coming to look at emotional intelligence, looking at the part of maturity where you upskill yourself to be able to get that response from her.
Yeah.
I think that's where you create a structured break, where, you know what, I need to understand this a bit more, and when I say understand this, you when you miss certain things, and you think, oh no, I could just do that by myself, and you start missing your counterpart, and realizing actually when they cooked this way, or when they did this activity with me this way, when we traveled together, I can appreciate it. Because when I thought I could just do this by myself, where we're still in a relationship, but then you're getting on my nerves, so I'm going to this side of the house, you're staying at that side of the house. There comes a point where you will meet in the kitchen. So
you're saying you that sounds like you're saying you appreciate what you have when it's gone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But why can't you do that in the marriage though?
Because it's still there in your face.
No, but okay, so I do think it's healthy to spend some time apart.
Yeah.
Meaning, I'll go to my mum's for this weekend, and then I'm back home. I haven't left my home though.
Yeah.
This is
or
my
your
home.
relationship.
This is my relationship, and I'm still running this in the way I do. I've just gone to see my mum, and in that time, go chill with your boys or whatever you need to do, and I'll be back, and we'll speak every day too. But I'm not in your face. And likewise, do you know what? Do you need to go on holiday with your mates just for the weekend? Do you need to have that time? Do you need to go and see Ryan and spend all night there and not be with me and not see me? And actually, my husband said it just like a month ago. I pulled up outside our house. He came outside and pulled up, and he went, "Oh, hello." But the hello was a bit different.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hi." And he was like, "Yeah, I like seeing you outside the house." And I was like, in my head, I was like, "Boy, you know who I am. Like, what do you mean you need to see me outside the house? What, just to recognize this?" Like, but I get it. Sometimes you're just so involved and you're
scenery.
there all the time.
Yeah.
It becomes like it's a blur sometimes. But to say actively, I need to have a break so I can feel like what it's like not to have you, I'm like a bit like, really?
No, just for clarification.
Yes, go for
Please.
it.
I said we should have a structured break.
Yeah, but what does a structured break look like? That was my question.
And Vanessa just
So that
pointed
is
out,
we talking
that's
about a
a
weekend away.
that's a structured break.
But is that what your idea?
Is that
of a
what
structured
is that
break
what you mean?
I meant whatever works for you.
Okay.
No, but what works for you?
Okay, what would have worked for me
Yeah.
is for me to pay for a hotel, kick back in Airbnb for about 2 months.
2 months. I'm done.
Well, that's
Yeah.
no judge. We
No,
listen
it's-
and we don't
we
judge.
don't
If you need 2
I know-
months,
I know
she needs a
I just said
weekend.
judge.
Yeah, again, but it's structured. I'm not coming out of this relationship. So it doesn't mean we're having a break where we're separated. Now you could go do single life. No, you're not single. You're still double. But you having
I tried to be serious. It wasn't working.
yeah, it's still structured where you have it organized and say, you know what, you have your time with your girls, you have your time with the boys, and we reconvene and meet outside, and I will see you differently.
Do you know what?
Hey, look, that's a new dress.
I will say, because we did say there's no judgment here. And actually, maybe it is what works for you. What works for you.
Yeah.
If that works for you and your other half, then let it work. That wouldn't work for me. I'd be like, what do you mean you need 2 months?
2 months.
To go? We do that hard stuff together because that's what we signed up for.
Fair.
Same.
But that's me. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I was fortunate in our relationship, and Paul might say this, because I worked away quite a bit. So I'm
he did have his 2 months.
Oh, you got another assignment away.
I'm just, bye, see you in a bit. But I used to get very upset if I phoned from wherever I was and he didn't pick up. I'm like, hey, bruv, I'm not here. You need to, you're supposed to pick up the phone.
Yeah, you should be running to the phone.
Right.
Is that my babe?
Yeah. He'd be like, I'm busy. I'm just cooking. I'm just doing. Like, but I'm calling you from halfway across the world. Like, what do you mean? But yeah, that might have helped. I don't know.
And I say that because of coming out of a divorce. I see where that would have been beneficial. To the point where you do not get divorced. But because you went on the 2 month break and you said you're going to do single, then you remain single.
Are you are you saying that after divorce, wait.
I know where you're going with this.
Wait. Are you saying, because it sounds like to me, so correct me if I'm wrong. Are you saying that after the break that divorce causes, it caused you to appreciate certain things from your marriage?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Absolutely. And I'll say that without
So you would have,
hesitation.
in hindsight, you would preferred a structured break rather than a divorce, because you feel like the enlightenment you've got from a divorce, you could have got from a structured break and then still had a healthy marriage.
And do you think it would have been the same for your other half? For your ex-wife? Do you think she would have viewed it? Do you think she may have been like, do you know what? Actually, if we thought about this, that structured break would have worked.
I dare say so. I dare say so. And because what you do when you're on a structured break is, again, is to recuperate and to learn and to upskill yourself, not to come back and still throwing the socks on the floor and not doing the bins or not putting up pictures. No, you go and learn, upskill yourself, that you come back. Like when you just made the example that, Paul saw you outside and he was like, hello. Like, you bought a new dress, you went to the gym and your pecs are kind of
something's different.
Where she looks at you and she's like, oh I'm rebuilding that again. You were with Paul for 20 odd years, but the moment he says, oh, let's get married, you're like,
feels like a new.
There you go. So that's the structured part where you need some guidance to create something that will ignite the fire that was dwindling down.
So in our, I'm a talker.
That's why we're here. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm sitting here. Paul actually said yesterday, he said, yeah, you'll love it. You talk. You talk. I was like,
you feel
wow.
right at home, babe.
Anyway, I'm a talker, so I talk a lot in our relationship. Paul's not so much a talker. But I often say, like, I randomly will just say, you got to remember, what was it that you liked? If he says something to me like, oh, your hair or something, I was like, what was it that you liked about it? You didn't complain about that hair when you... And I always try to make him remember, what are the things that you like about me? You can't change me now, Paul. What are the things? Remember those things. You've got to look at me and go, oh yeah, Vanessa smile, or Vanessa, the same way I do. I often he'd be sitting on the couch just watching telly and I just think, yeah, I remember it was those eyes, or I remember, like, I have to...
Do you say that to him or to yourself?
And I will say it to him, but I say it to myself a lot.
Okay.
More than I would say it to him. That's my reminders.
Are you doing that to remind yourself to be more positive? Do you do that when you're feeling negative and remind yourself?
I do it for both. I do it both times. I will do it just admire and go, oh, it's Paul. Like, that, I remember the lips or something. Yeah. But I'll also do it.
Pause.
Stop.
Go.
But I'll also stop it. I'll also do it.
Excuse me.
If I've been a bit moody and
you're trying to bring yourself back to that.
Yeah, and then I just have to sit and I just might see him, and then I reflect and I think, actually, it's not so bad because you know what? Look at him.
The lips.
Something. Yeah, and then it just makes you smile. But I know we're in a bit of a mood. I'll just go off quietly.
Yeah.
And
I love that. That's nice.
it's those things, but I think, I don't know, you have to be aware, and it's tiresome, right? You're working with someone that's not you.
You have to be intentional as well. isn't it?
Right. So I think you constantly have to challenge yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I partially agree with what you said in terms of the break teaching you something. The break did teach me, it helped me to get to the point of knowing that I wasn't ready, or the areas that I lacked in, why I wasn't able to be the husband I needed to be. So I know that with the skills and tools I have now, I could make a marriage work.
Okay.
But I don't know if I could have made that one work, because I don't know if she's come to the same realizations on her side of what she needed to do to be an ideal wife for Ryan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know where I could have, I'm not saying I would be perfect, but I know, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
I know to be more present. I know how to make her feel more safe. I know how to be more helpful around the house and listen to it. Do you know what I mean? I can do that now. Before, you know, when you're in it, you need to remove yourself from it. And do you know what I mean? We can touch on this in a sec, but living on your own as a previously married person, you got to do everything. You got to, especially when you get a house, it's different, because at first you're sharing a house. You're normally in you're in a room.
When you first leave, right?
When you first leave, you have nothing, so you're in a
You have
little
to
room
start
somewhere.
again.
And that has its challenges. We can open up about that in a sec. But I have to do all the dusting. I have to clean the fridge. I have to empty the bins. I have to hoover everywhere.
You have to cook.
I also have to go and earn the money. I also have to do something for myself, self-care. I've got to do stuff for the children. So I've got to do everything. So things like that, practically, I'm thinking, okay, cool. I didn't really think about dusting when I was married. Do you know what I mean? I would do stuff, but I wasn't thinking about all of the stuff.
Right.
So there's things that would have been taken care of that I wasn't even thinking of. But with that awareness now, you're like, rah, let me just, when I get home and I'm tired, let me not slump and let me just clock in again to the next job and say, all right, cool, what can I do? Anything, do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But I wouldn't have known that
If
unless
you
I
didn't
hadn't experienced.
that
And that's the
experience.
problem. Back to your point, getting married so young, you haven't lived life to then to know all the things that it entails. Do you know what I mean? I went from my mum's house to living with my wife.
Yeah.
She kept the house. So it's like, I've never had to be independent like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Do you know
from
what I
your
mean?
mum to your
Yeah.
wife.
My wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
basically. That's what she would have felt like.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything. So that I've just got another child.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Basically.
At that time. Now, it's different. The last 7 years, it's just been me. So,
So
different
if you
appreciation.
marry again,
yeah,
you've got a whole different concept
absolutely. Yeah.
on what the needs are and the bits that you have to do also.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna have an apron and a duster.
Yeah.
I have an apron and I
There
have
you
dusters.
go.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So he'll be moving in with his
Gloves as well?
imagery.
Exactly.
Here's
Gloves.
my aprons
Yeah,
and
I've got
here's my
gloves.
duster.
Marigolds?
You got marigolds.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's got
right.
the fur at the end of it.
No fur.
Oh, wow.
You don't know.
Pink ones.
When interesting, this week a friend of mine got into a bit of a debate on socials. Someone made a statement about being a new wife and cooking, and that's what you have to do for your husband all the time, right? This friend of mine said, no, you don't. I don't think so. And then everyone jumped on it.
Yeah.
The comments were going crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
They're like, you're not married, she is. All this stuff.
Wow. Yeah. That's why you're not married.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I messaged my friend and I said, listen, because she then said a little, like, she made it clear of what her point was. So she spoke it. And I said, I hope people listen to what you're saying and take it for what it's meant to be and stop just jumping on this bandwagon of, you need to do this, you need to do that. Because actually what she was saying is, I'm not a slave for anyone, but I want to provide. I want to do these things because I love that person. I want to care for that person. That person wants to do that for me too. But it doesn't mean I'm chained and that is the way I'm a good wife. That it doesn't mean that. And I agree. And I was like, I've always stood my ground with that. my mum's done everything for my dad, everything. And I love them. They're great, right? But I kind of see the toll it's taken on my mum. I feel that for her. And my dad's not a bad person. He's amazing. But I see it. And I don't agree with it. And I met Paul. And he cooked for me the first time I went to his house. He laid down some food, oxtail, hard food. I tell you,
my brother.
it was so sweet.
Yeah, sweet, isn't it?
I didn't believe he cooked it. So I said to his mum,
went to the shop.
are you sure? I said to his mum, are you sure he cooked it? It was in a big pot. And she said, no, Paul cooked it by himself. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? I don't believe you. I sat, and I've always said to Paul, that is, you will never get me just cooking for you, because you can cook, mate. You can cook for me, I cook for you. We just take it in turns. And when my children were small, yes, he had dinners quite regularly. You know why? Because I was feeding my kids. So because I'm feeding my kids, because that's my duty. That's my role, to raise these children and nourish these children. So you get to feed off the back of that. Of course. I do cook for Paul because I want to feed him and I love him. But it's not my duty. It's not a chore for me. I don't stand there and go, the time I've got to cook for my husband. I don't do that.
All right. But you know what, though? I hear what you're saying. I appreciate it. But it's very attractive to me. I don't know, you can speak for yourself. It's very attractive to me if a woman wants to take care of me like that. That's like, it make me, there's things that make you go weak at the knees and stuff. That sort of stuff makes me feel like, oh, gee. Like, when she's like, oh, I want to cook for you. Makes your hair flow. Make my hair grow. Yeah, that will make me go weak at the knees. Someone said, oh, just want to cook for you. I'm just make sure. I'll always make sure that, when you come home, there's a food. And I just think, oh, wow. That's a big deal. It's not that I want her to be my maid, but I love that feeling that someone wants to be nurturing. I think that goes back to
what you were saying earlier about when you were young, the 10-year-old.
And then wants to be special to somebody.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's just me because of my situation growing up.
Yeah.
Or if men feel like that in general, they like to be catered to.
Well, if you think about how long Paul and I have been together, and I'm not a regular cook.
Yeah.
And he makes jokes. So if he was here right now, he says, yeah, look how skinny I've got.
Yeah. Why is that, Vanessa?
Why is that, Vanessa? And then his grandma, literally, she's like, son, you're all right. Look how skinny. I'm like, don't even play that.
Vanessa, you feeding him up?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
But he's a grown man and he can look after himself also. But
do you think he would appreciate and love to always be catered to in that way? You don't?
I don't. I think, because look, I'm going by the statistics of it. Look how long we've been together.
Have you asked him though? Or are you assuming based on how long you've been together? Because there's going to be things about you that he...
okay, so
because you can't assume that because you've been together all that time that you're both okay with how everything is.
You're right.
Some things you just may not be addressing. Right. It might not be worth the trouble.
But it needs improvement.
But I'm not going to say that I don't want to rattle the cage.
You're right. But say my dad would go, he literally gets into a strop, there's no food. Like he can't even understand. He's like, what's happened? Yeah. My mum's cooking.
She spoil him, that's why.
All the time.
She married him.
Yeah.
Right? So he does not get it. He can't. I've seen my mum come out of hospital and he's like,
nah, that's taking it.
Right? No, for real.
Put the crutches down, babe, get in the kitchen.
Literally.
That's crazy.
And he can't see it because he just used to her doing cooking and providing these meals.
Yeah.
But Paul... often I get home and he's like, baby, yeah, I've cooked. He's often like, oh yeah, what time are you coming home? Because I've made this. Or like, it never feels like his expectation is, I want you to do this for me. Every now, when he does want something, he might say, babe, do you know what I want? Do you know what I fancy? Could you? And then I'd kind of know.
Can I put to you ladies,
it'd be interesting to hear
in the room and out there,
yes,
that it's probably a good idea to check in with your partner about what they like, what they don't like, what their expectations are. And in an ideal world, what would you really like from
Whatever
me, babes?
you like.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, and I think it's probably a toxic trait. We don't offer up information. We don't offer up how we feel very often.
No.
We don't offer up information. It doesn't mean that we're happy with how everything is because we haven't said.
That's a fact.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't just go and talk because as a man, sometimes you don't want to say things because you know how the woman's gonna react, and it's just like it's not worth all of that reaction.
I get that.
She's gonna be worrying. So if there's a problem, you're gonna double the problem by telling her about it because you have to deal with her reaction and the problem. So sometimes it's not the greatest, but sometimes we just hold it and we just get on with it. But it doesn't mean
You're
that,
okay.
yeah. Oh, this is how we like it. Oh,
Yeah.
no. He don't say anything about that, so he must be. You know, it's not.
Yeah, well, one of the
For me,
things-
it's
well,
not the
yeah, no,
case.
I agree. I definitely agree with you. It's good to check in.
Oh, sorry. Before you continue, don't forget what you're gonna say. It's good to check in, but also make it a safe place
Yeah.
to share.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to share. No,
And then
you can
you
say
lose
anything,
your
babe.
mind.
And
then
then
you
you're
get mad.
you see, this is
Yeah.
why I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Because when I talk,
I
it blows
agree.
up.
I
So
agree with that.
I'm gonna go back in my shell. Allow
Yeah.
it.
I just won't say
It's not
nothing.
worth it. It's not worth
Yeah.
it. So you have to be ready to receive what you may not want to hear.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean?
And how you
And make it
respond
safe.
to it
Mm.
is what demonstrates that it's safe to actually say and speak. And that's what I was actually gonna say. That
Yeah.
when we do speak, take heed. Like take hold of that because that is. I wanna. I
It's a
don't
rare
think.
nugget.
Yeah.
Say again.
It's a rare nugget.
Yeah.
Right. I want to say that men do talk. Men do talk. We do share emotions, and we do speak, but it's when we speak, and we see the value of what we say taken into consideration. That's why we could have talk. Yo, bro, what's going on with your missus? Oh man, she's on a mad one. That's a sharing of emotion. We're not going into detail, but we still shared it. Now, when you come back to the same person and say, you know, what happened? Did you fix whatever? Yeah, we sorted it out. And we're going out. It's still sharing information, but then as a partner, partner and partner, you have to be mindful that space that you create and allowing them to speak and allowing them to share becomes the key thing. Now, I want to say also that all the social media doctors, therapists,
Professionals.
professionals,
Yeah. Professors.
they have to be very mindful and careful. Because I could go to you and say to you, no, man, you can't talk to him like that. And then burst it out and say, no, you can't talk to him like that. No, you can't talk to him like that, but you should talk to him like that. So we have to be mindful with how we address counseling people or advising them on what suits them in their relationship.
Because it's not one size fits
It's
all.
never one size
What
fits
works
all.
for me may not work
Because
for you.
if that was the case,
Totally.
then it would be
Easy.
What's
Yeah,
that?
that's a blanket, one blanket.
Yeah.
Thing
It's
for
never
everyone.
Be
one blanket.
harmonious.
You'll be part of them. What's the relationship when you've got multiple people?
Oh,
yeah.
polygamy.
Multitasking.
Multitasking. Polygamy.
Multilygamy.
Non-monogamy.
Yes. No, because and that's why that works
Yeah.
for some people, because the thing that is advised to you is advised to you, then you marry the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's advised to you and it's not
Yeah.
working, then it's
Yeah.
not for you.
A weekend might work for you. 2 months might work for you. I mean, the break.
A whole
different.
year could work for somebody else.
Sure.
They go to
Another
extreme.
thing about the communication thing as well, from a man's perspective, I think some ladies,
Well done.
most I don't know, some ladies, hear what we say, but they're not listening, or they like to remix or transform what we say. So I'll say, Vanessa,
Sorry.
yeah, for example, your hair looks nice up today, but I preferred it yesterday when it was down. What you repeat back to me is, so you're basically, what you're trying to say is that
You don't like
No,
Shaniqua
sis,
shake.
I'm just saying, I really liked it when it's nice today, but oh, so basically, but he's like, oh, you're not hearing me.
Sorry.
I'm saying I like
There's
this
certain
even
age group.
more.
Yeah.
Certain age groups.
Yeah.
That I was
For
gonna
me.
say.
You're controlling me now.
Oh,
Oh my god.
You're controlling me. That you can't tell me that this is how I'm me. So if you're to say,
the whole head move.
yeah, you got into character,
And the hands.
Christina.
no,
We're not talking about anyone called
Yeah,
Christina,
sorry.
just FYI.
We don't know Christina.
But yeah, I feel like that's a big issue because I could share what I'm sharing. It takes a lot for us to get to the point where we're sharing and being vulnerable. And then you're kicking off and you're remixing what I'm saying. You're adding to it. Like I'm like, no, don't add to it. What I've actually said, that's what I actually mean. So just take what I've said. Don't take it and modify
But I
it.
think that that comes from because women are so complex.
Yeah, and we're so simple.
And you're so simple, and I think we don't remember that. Often we think you should be thinking exactly the way we
100%.
think and saying.
How do you not know what I'm thinking?
Yeah, like
yeah.
right?
How could you not?
Because our one little sentence doesn't just mean that one little sentence. There's there's a whole
Ebbs and
nuances.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hill and gully.
Hill and gully, mountain and
Sure.
valley.
I tell you.
Yeah,
But when you say something,
that's just what we
It's
mean.
just
that's
that.
it. Yeah.
I
There's
only
no
said
so
that.
basically or so what you're
No.
trying to say is
Yeah,
no.
no,
there
I'm not
is.
trying to say
That's
anything.
all I
I'm
said.
saying what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So-
And I feel like we forget that. And I like 100%. Sometimes, but I've got a rule that I try to. I don't do this perfectly, but I try to just say, take just 10 seconds before you respond. Just listen. Try to listen and hear it again. Repeat it. What did that mean?
Yeah.
Before you there's an emotion that's already going.
You can feel it.
Right. So if I just respond straight away, that it's all of that.
Yeah.
So it's just 10
It's like
seconds.
we spoke about. Sorry, Ryan. We were talking about overthinking. Was it yesterday or
Yes,
today?
today.
Today.
Yeah.
And it's like because we would deduce 5 from 1.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let me just take a minute and just. What did he actually say?
Right.
Oh, thank you.
So how can ladies practice hearing what their partner is saying and learning to quieten down how they're hearing it in their language, your language? Is it can you think is it just an experience and age thing, or is there something that people can practice practically? Try it when your man's talking to you, sis. Try it, and is there a process, is there a step, is there technique?
Just try and hear what he's saying and don't be quick to speak.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think is a timing, and you have to just take some time.
No matter what emotion you're feeling at the time. Having a consciousness, because we can use the excuse that we talked about with hormones, we can use the excuse.
Yeah.
And they are valid in some cases
Yes.
in terms of what we feel, but we can use that as an ammunition or as a reason why I did that, because no, it doesn't mean it's okay. Like, you don't get to just because you're premenstrual or you're perinatal that you get to just verbally diarrhea on someone when they say something you think is not okay. There's a lot of neck rolling going on right now.
There's so much. I'm like,
It's not okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, just breathe, think, or ask for clarity.
yes.
Like, did you mean this or did you mean that? No, I just meant that. Okay, thank you. Done.
What advice would you give
Ew.
a woman
That was a deep breath.
in terms of learning how to hear a man?
I'm intrigued. Get your notepad out. Yeah.
Oh no. Oh my goodness.
Go on, Dr. Social Media.
But again, it's just, for me, it's just simple. Like, believe me. If I say to you, this is how I feel, believe that that's how I feel. Because I've had conversations with people I'm with or dating, tell them how I feel, and I say, do you get what I mean? Do you get what I mean, babe? Yeah, I get what you mean, but I still feel that. But how can you still feel that it's X when I'm telling you I feel like Y?
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, but I still feel that. You just have to believe me. Do you know what I mean? And if you don't believe, we shouldn't be together if you don't trust and believe me. If you don't have that, if you don't feel like I'm trustworthy, you shouldn't be together. You got to believe what he says. Is he a trustworthy person? What's evidence showed you? I've done CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And one of the things that I was taught was to take your thinking. Oh Lord, take your thinking errors. There we go. Take your thinking errors to court. So take your thought to court. And basically, what that means is, you can magnify something, or you can minimize something, or you could be over worrying about something and whatever, it hasn't happened or whatever. Yeah. They say take the thought to court, weigh up, literally like you're in court, argument for why that's the truth. Evidence. Factual evidence why that's the truth. Factual evidence as to why that's not the truth. Weigh it up. What does the facts say? And then go with what the facts say. And no matter how you're feeling and all the other thoughts, evidence shows.
Right.
But do you know what I mean? So if I put on events, I sing and perform, I get nervous every time, even though I'm well versed in it. But now I have a thought in my head to say, every time I sing, people enjoy it. Even if I didn't think I did well, even if I know I could do better, even if we made mistakes, I can't think of a time I've performed in recent history where it crashed. I know that I'm going to do well, even if it's not my best. And the evidence shows that the response is...
It's going to be.
Yeah. So even if it's not my best, I know it's going to be all right. So this person's late. This person can't come anymore. I've got to do this. I've got to cover for this person. I haven't got my full range, blah, blah, blah. But I know I can do enough. Evidence shows. Do you know what I mean? So if evidence shows you that this man is trustworthy or is a man of his word, and he does what he says or means what he says, just believe him. Do you know what I mean? Go by the evidence.
It's funny, I've heard that.
What court do you take it to?
Say again?
What court do you take it to?
You're an idiot. The court up here, the court of my mind.
Who's the judge?
But yeah.
Leave.
That's get out. Get out.
Okay,
that's
I
my advice.
that.
Believe him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the same
believe
way.
the evidence.
True.
Opposite. If he show he don't business, then believe that he don't business and just walk away.
Exactly. Because if you're saying, babes, this, if he's shown that he's whatless, believe him. There's again, I'm not picking on the ladies.
No.
But there's so many ladies in relationships that they don't deserve to be in. They deserve to be treated so much better.
Try to fix.
There's that fixed mentality.
But you can't. You have to go with what the evidence shows you.
Yeah.
He's cheated repeatedly. It wasn't just a one-off. He's cheated repeatedly. He doesn't value you. He doesn't bring you gifts. He doesn't love you in your love language. He doesn't make you feel special. Those are the facts. So that's the evidence show that is how he sees you. And that's how he's going to treat you. Why are you believing something other than the truth, the facts? It's not nice, but that's what he's showing you. So go by evidence.
Yeah.
So balancing it out then, Vanessa, what would you advise another man on listening, or again, when you're saying something, when you're saying you're tired, to us, we think you're saying you're tired. But really, truly, you are actually saying...
There's 1,000 things in my brain right now, and I've got so much to do, and I'm tired. Could mean 1,000 things.
So how do we interpret that? And
where do we start?
How do we start learning to...
The thing is, this is
to listen to the things that's not been said?
Yes.
Right.
Hear the
so
unsaid.
True.
How do we hear the unsaid, the unspoken?
I am not going to pretend that we are simple.
No, I was just going to say.
I'm not going to pretend that our language is clear.
Yeah.
I'm feeling this right now. Because if I say I'm tired, I don't want you to say okay and expect me to go to bed. Because that's
the
not...
problem. We will say that. If my partner says, babe, I'm exhausted, I'm like, early night tonight then, babes.
But remember, Ryan, you just said, if I tell you...
Yeah.
Your hair looks nice,
but
I preferred it yesterday, but it looks really nice still.
Yeah.
I need to just take that as that.
That's what it is,
Right?
Yeah.
The same way, but reverse
Don't take
this,
it.
right?
Yeah. Don't take it as that.
You can't take it as that.
Wow.
So now our language is, I am tired. You need to go, what's going on? What do you need? Can I help in any way?
Open questions.
Okay. So I'm gonna do what ladies do. I'm gonna remix what you said, but in a way to let the guys understand.
Yes, please.
So you're saying, as a man, when women say something, don't try and fix it. Explore it.
And that's the thing, because men are fixers naturally,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you're telling me, babe, this happened, I'm thinking, okay,
Like
easy.
the light bulb's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
I've gone up
Fix
there
that.
to fix it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Have you tried this? Have you tried that?
Just
Have
listen.
you tried that? Listen and explore. Is that right? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think I'm speaking for most women, and there's probably some women out there going, no, that's
No,
not what
that's
I
not
mean.
me.
But I think that is the right thing.
I think that's powerful.
And actually, if there's the female out there that says, no, I don't want you to do that, even if you ask that question, she can just tell you, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And you still winning. You're still winning.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember the film White Men Can't Jump?
Yes.
And then she says, Billy,
Yes.
when I say I'm thirsty, I don't want you to bring me a glass of water.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't want you to fix it. And they were like, what?
What?
But you're thirsty.
You're
though,
thirsty,
so I'm,
here's the water.
I'm bringing you.
We
You know
don't
what I
make
mean?
any
So,
sense.
no, you don't. You don't get it, Billy. So that's what that reminds me of.
It's the truth.
Oh my gosh, I want to say this to Paul. Billy.
Billy,
I'm Billy.
don't do that, Billy. I don't
How
need
many
water.
Billys
I
are
don't
there?
I don't need water, Billy.
Shout out to Billy.
But as a
right.
man, we feel like, oh, I've got to sort it out. I've got to
yeah.
fix it.
Yeah,
I've got to be
Yeah.
all things.
And it's an easy fix because you just see and hear what that was.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Yeah, because
do
if
that.
I don't fix it, I don't
feel
feel
worthless.
feel- yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing
like,
is as
you
well,
just told me a
like,
problem.
we feel like there's so much problems and issues in life in general. If there's a quick fix for it and just knock that off the list,
Yeah.
as men, we're like, oh yeah, cool, easy.
Tick, done.
Here's the water. Yeah, I'm tired. All right, have an early night tonight, baby. You're like, no, but I've got all these things to offload. But for us, we're just trying to tick off, tick,
Yeah.
tick.
See, but the key is just what is it that you need? You're tired. Really, what? Do you want to talk about it, or what is it that you need? Do you
Yeah.
need me to help you?
Yeah.
Because that just opens it for her to say, actually, all I need is an early night. Have you got this? Then you can say, go on then. And she's gone to bed.
Okay.
Or it is, you know what, can I just tell you what happened? And then she's
man.
off.
Yeah, go on then, babe. Thinking, oh,
Pause like, I have
Yeah.
to pause the telly.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to start this.
You're not listening to
you know,
me though.
yeah. No, because you're gonna have to rewind it anyway if you don't pause it.
If you don't pause
Yeah.
it. right?
Or you pause it. You don't have to pause it, babe. You think, no, I have
I
to
need
pause
to
it
pause
because.
Yes.
Oh no, I expect the pause. Do you know what I do? I go to talk. He's like, yeah, get on, and he's still like,
In the
I
footy.
just stop talking.
Yeah,
I
you
just
can't
sit there
multitask.
silent
Yes.
until he realizes that I'm not talking.
How
Then he
long
goes,
does it take him to
oh, yeah, go on. I'm like,
Does it take long for him to realise?
sometimes.
It depends how good the game
The
is.
whole,
You know what I mean? Like,
the whole
ooh,
thing
ooh.
finished.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes I've got up, walked out. He's not
He hasn't
even
even
realised.
clocked.
Guys.
That's why
funny.
I believe that certain kind of men just have this. The laser focus is real.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
oh my days, you guys can just
Fixated.
lock off everything and just.
Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision.
I can do that when I turn
Well,
off
it's
my
like
daughter
when remember
sometimes.
we were having a chat and we were talking about that my wife and kids episode.
Yes.
And you speak to your husband and or your man and they just hear Chinese.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
saying?
Oh, that's
offense.
mad. That's mad. You're like, swear down. You're not hearing a thing, you know.
Yes, and I talked about it in an hour. Like, wait, what are you talking about?
Remember, I told you.
I told you. Yeah.
Why are you saying for real for? I asked you, what colour was it?
For real.
For real.
That's
Yeah.
not an
What
answer.
colour? Was it blue?
Are you
For
listening
real,
to me?
For real.
Yeah. Have you got something for us to finish up on?
Communication. How do you speak to your husband in every given situation, like when you're happy or upset? I think we've spoken on some stuff which allude to that. So, how about we explore the emotions?
How to speak to your spouse when they are upset or when you are upset?
I think both, whether it's simultaneously or one at a time, because I think sometimes, you know, when little things happen, these little small foxes in communication happen, you don't realize that that can be something you're holding on to, like the way someone responded to something that you didn't say anything about, and then in 2 weeks' time when you have a little spat, it gets really violent, not physically violent necessarily, but volatile.
Yeah.
And you're like, but why is it here? Perhaps it's because when I was talking to you about this, I got a certain response, but because I didn't feel safe to talk to you, I didn't think I could let you know. So therefore, this is building up from that and from that and from that.
Yeah.
So how should it, I don't even know what scenario to give. I don't know. You broke a very important vase to me, which has sentimental value. Oh, sorry, I'll replace it. but there was nothing else in between
Yeah, there's no empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm vexed, but I'm like, okay. And or I'm like reeling off verbal diarrhea. Like, how are you going to deal, that's a bad example, but really bad example. How would you recommend or suggest that a man would want to hear you, like a female, talk to them if they are upset and they are feeling the emotions and they're high and heavy, with the consideration of what a woman's emotional state can be? Like, how would you navigate through that?
So for me, okay, so the rule for me, the preference for me is talk to me softly, with respect, in a feminine way, soft feminine way, to get the best out of me.
What is a soft feminine?
I'm going to look at the dictionary definition.
Unless you need to pull me up about what I'm doing for myself. So, for example, if I'm meant to be eating a particular way and I'm not, you can talk to me a bit harsher, like, come on, babe, what's the target? You know what the target is. You shouldn't be eating that because, you know what I mean? You've worked so hard already, blah, blah. So you can pull me up if I'm not doing the things for myself that I should, blah, blah. Everything else, I prefer to be spoken to with love in a feminine way. You can manipulate me as long as you, I don't mind, manipulate me, but with femininity, softness, like be tactile, be soft, be gentle, whatever. Yeah, you probably get a yes every time.
Okay, but
go on.
Ryan, emotions are real. They are real. So if you're in the moment and something, and the emotion is right there, I need to try to find it within myself to speak femininely and
I would
softly.
like that, because that's what I said, that's my preference. But on the flip side, I have to learn also how to be patient and have temperance. And when you can't do that, I need to have a reserve where I can take some blows. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't expect you to do that. And unless you do that, I'm not going to. There has to be some leeway, some give. Do you know what I mean? But that's my preference. If you speak to me softly, blah, 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 you're likely to get whatever. But
at least he owns it.
But you're saying, or it sounds like you're saying, because you are so emotional sometimes, you can't get to that soft, gentle place. It's just going to come out.
I think it's both sides, right?
Yeah.
Because you'll get emotional because of something.
Yeah, but it's different though. I think this is unfair. Personally, I think it's unfair.
Okay.
Because when you lot feel very emotional, ladies, it's more often than not, it's coming out. When we feel very emotional, more often than not, we have to hold that in, because if we don't, it's destruction. If it don't, it's violence. If it don't, it's aggression. If we don't, then you're scaring me. So we have to hold our most intense feelings in. But I feel like ladies get a big pass sometimes. Oh, she's just emotional. She's just did this, or it's just that.
Well, I don't know. I think that's then down to individual people, because it's how you portray that emotion. Because you've just used the example of two of you, because you're men, it can come across, it's aggressive, it's destructive, and it's violent, and the woman's going, oh, you're scaring me. I've never been scared of Paul's emotions.
But have they come out in its full
So
fullness?
here you go. Because we all need to take responsibility, I think, right? So if he's emotional, it's coming out. I can understand it. I can almost feel it. I can see it. I feel it. I'm like, okay. Give him space. He gets it out and allow that. There's a marker though, isn't there? Because respectfully, we got to respect each other. And there's a marker. You can't go above that marker with your emotion, because now we've gone over the line of respect.
Right.
So you can have your emotion, and I'm allowed to have my emotion back. Because we're passionate in this. There's an emotion.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to go crazy, start throwing things and all of that. I don't think that's allowed.
But it happens though.
Because respectfully, that if there's respect here, I shouldn't be able to do that. The same way you should be able to come into my face.
Sorry!
Oh my God.
Woo! Sorry!
Sorry.
Doing so well.
We were we got so far.
We did.
And now I just thought a patch over the eye.
Private joke.
A punch over the
My eye's stinging.
Yeah. Private joke.
Wink, 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 wink.
Wink. But yeah, I hear you.
You
I
know.
feel like as men, I feel we have to maybe not just men, but I can only speak from a man's perspective. I have to hold in a lot emotionally because day to day on the street, we could be seen as aggressive in the workplace, in the corporate world. We have to be this rather than this because it's just, oh, you're aggressive. Do you know what I mean?
It's easily.
So
That
even in
happens
our
to
relationship,
us.
we
I
have
don't know.
to do
Does
that.
that happen to you?
What's that part?
Where you can get called aggressive because you've just
Been
been a
passionate.
bit
Assertive.
assertive.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That
was
was-
a while ago. No, I wouldn't say that now.
There's still still can be friend. Oh, you're like.
Yeah.
Just like
I'm just like, yeah, that wasn't aggression.
Yeah.
Like,
Or culturally, the way we express ourselves.
Yeah.
yes, like with
Totally.
my neck rolls and my hand
and hand
expressions.
movements.
That's quite black. Yes, it's quite Cushite.
That was good, guys. I'm going to wrap it up
All right.
for that episode. But yeah, nice conversation.
Nice
And we'll be back
conversation.
with
Did
some
we
more.
learn anything?
Definitely. I
Took
did.
some notes in my
Well,
brain.
I learned that if I'm
A break
having-
is not the thing. Not really.
What did you say? A 2-month break.
A 2 months.
I learned that 2
I
month
went
break
years. So
Yeah.
is good. And
I learned
also-
to explore and not try and fix.
That's what I was gonna
That's
say.
that's the
Just
the
listen.
biggest take home for
Yeah,
me.
if they say I'm hungry, then what
yeah.
happened? What happened this morning?
Yeah. What have you
Who did
eaten
you
today?
see? Who did you see? No, you can't. If they say you're hungry,
Yeah.
they're hungry. It's not because they're hungry.
Okay. Good. I don't think that's what they meant, brother.
Oh my god.
Just explore it.
Should
Explore.
we go
Just
out
learn
to
to
eat?
explore.
No, that's not what
That's
I
not what
said.
I said.
I'm
Yeah.
still right.
Okay. Tell me about your
Who
day.
did you see?
Start from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh wow.
You're like,
Start from the beginning. In the beginning,
be fair-
God created
Yeah,
heavens and
to
the earth.
be fair to the hungry comment,
Yeah.
I'm hungry. You could say, did you have breakfast and lunch?
Wow.
That's why I said, what have you eaten today? And then go
Yeah.
for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
What have we learned?
I have nothing to say.
Oh, you've learned nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. If I don't learn you.
We'll come
I'm
back
just
to you
listening.
next episode, yeah?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're out. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.